This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. I'm in Puebla, Mexico. Just finished my run, and I had some thoughts about how yourself could more easily see, or how it can more easily see your mind instead of believing it was your mind. Said another way, how the unconstricted consciousness could see the constricted consciousness. And so the unconstricted consciousness is like an opening. It's an awareness of all without a focus, without a position, without a listening that needs to be right. It's just an open listening. And when your mind listens to everything, people, the environment, nature, it's listening through a filter of trying to understand, process, come to a correct conclusion, and be right about that conclusion and make a right decision, go in the right direction. And the reason it's constricted is because it's starting with a conclusion or starting with a filter that is a amalgamation of your entire mind organized paradigm of point of view. And so it's a constricted view over a possibly unconstricted set of perception that is the awareness. And so when you listen from awareness, there's no position that you need to justify and look for proof of or evidence that proves it. It's an openness of perception and awareness. Contrast that with your mind. When you listen with your mind, everything is driving to a purpose, a correct purpose that reflects all the other purposes that you experienced in your life in the past, that somehow justifies previous conclusions you've made, that somehow honors the paradigm of past experience and organizes the future to match that, to reflect that. And so there's a place of righteousness that we listen from when we're in our mind paradigm. There's a need, it's a childish need in some respects almost, to be correct and prove the other wrong. And it's childish because it's not open for new information that you missed the first time you watched, and the first time isn't this time. And so if you're in constricted consciousness, your predictions about the future are a reflection of the past, and they confirm your value. You confirm your own value. You get to be right. And even your mind, when it hears this concept I'm describing, has thoughts about how it's stupid to talk about unconstricted consciousness, because what would be the purpose of that? What would be the purpose of, your mind will say, throwing away all of your past experience and just wandering around with an empty mind, walking in front of traffic and getting run over? And so only a fool would entertain the idea of a unconstricted consciousness. And so what the mind's driving for there is, it's in fear that unless you quickly focus on a subset of everything in the awareness, you risk getting run over by a car. But what the mind is not interested in seeing and will never be able to see is that the unconstricted consciousness has within it, only as a small object, the entire paradigm that your mind's built. And the unconstricted consciousness can take the counsel of your mind as need be before coming to conclusion, without constricting itself to the paradigm of the constricted consciousness. It would be like a parent walking alongside of its child and hearing the child explain how if it doesn't get chocolate ice cream within 30 seconds, it will die. It will die. It really needs the chocolate ice cream. And the parent understands the child won't die and can listen to the child while he hears birds in the trees and a traffic jam at the corner and other information that's relative to everything. And so the child is telling you, don't open up your consciousness, keep it constricted, and I can get you to the answer more quickly. And so you want the chocolate ice cream and you take its counsel. And that's what most of the world's living in. They're living in a constricted consciousness that only takes the counsel of their years and none of the counsel that unconstricted consciousness brings with new information at every given second. And so you just have to be able to step back and hear the child want to immediately close on getting new ice cream within 30 seconds. And you have to step back from that and hear everything else without the paradigm of the filter of what's the only important thing right now to get what you want. And you won't lose the ability to hear the child when it speaks, and once in a while the child will have some valuable information from you. But more often than not, in many situations, you don't need to drive to a conclusion as quickly as your mind is trying to convince you. You can often leave open possibility. In those situations where it's not critical, you can leave up the possibilities that awareness creates through taking in more information, considering more variables, without a filter of any kind, just living in the awareness. And in addition to a better counsel, with more information, you'll find that being in the awareness itself is joyful. There's a nature to the constricted consciousness that creates pain in your life. And there's no pain in the awareness. Alright, just some things I wanted to share with you after my run. I hope you're here. Be here and have a great day. This is Dan from Vagabond Buddha. Thanks for listening.